what's going on, everybody? Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in to this week's Productive Agent Podcast. My name is Tony Ruiz. I'm the founder and host of the Productive Agent Podcast and Facebook group. I'm excited to be joined today by my good friend and top producer in the industry here in San Antonio, Mr. Josue Gallardo. Josue is in his 11th year of real estate. He sells over $10 million in sales every year. He has 30 to 45 transactions annually. He's been top 500 in San Antonio. When he was with EXP, he hit Icon twice, and he has a wealth of knowledge, and I'm excited to get into his story. So today is his story and the consistency and persistence. Welcome, Josue Gallardo.
What's going on, Tony? How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm excited to be here. You know, every time we talk and I'm around you, the energy that you have is just contagious. And I appreciate you hopping on with us and sharing your story and talking about real estate, man.
Absolutely, man. No, I dig what you're doing here. Like, I love your setup. I think that everything that you've done, starting back with just the Productive Agent Group, has been very valuable. And you and I both know it's tough when you're a brand new agent or anybody just getting into the industry or maybe even trying to hit a reset. So kudos to you for, taking the time out of your busy day and schedule to do this kind of stuff so we can share content like this, stories, et cetera, and maybe get people hyped up, right? Get a little reset button, especially in today's kind of market, right? Maybe a little drip of knowledge that one might not have known about. Yeah, man, it's just all good stuff. So seriously, you're a rock star for doing this, man.
Hey, man, I really appreciate that. That means a lot. You're my rock star, dude. Like I want to be that icon agent that's selling all kinds of real estate. So yeah, absolutely. If you're in San Antonio, you need to go grab a beer with Josue. His energy is awesome, and it's so much fun to be around. So let's get into it, man. You ready?
Yeah, I am. Let's do it.
Cool. Well, let's start with a little bit of your background. Tell us a little bit like where you're from, where did you go to school, what did you do before real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. So native San Antonian, I was born and raised here in 1984, right? It seems like forever ago. But yeah, love it here. Went to John Marshall High School. So I grew up on the northwest side of town, graduated in 2003. And then, a couple of years after that, was not really feeling the whole college scene. And so I decided to join the Marine Corps. So I spent time there from '05 to '09. And that's pretty much what I would consider doing before actually hopping into real estate, because once I came back, I kind of jumped around to a couple of different jobs, but it wasn't really like a true passion or a calling until I started real estate in 2012. So yeah, that's kind of a quick synopsis on who I am and where I'm from.
So between '03 and '05, what were you doing before you went into the Marines?
Failing at a small business. Me and my buddy, we thought we were going to be these rock star detailers. Man, I grew up washing cars for the wash tub, right? And I did that in high school. I got a lot of good buddies from there. Yeah. And anyway, so me and my friend took a loan out from his grandfather. $5,000, man. We were 18 years old. We know what we're doing. We had a business plan, had no idea what to do with this money. And so we blew it, and we actually made money, believe it or not, but we didn't have a P&L. We didn't save. Next thing you know, it's like time to order chemicals again. And I got all these accounts. We got all these accounts set up, and I'm looking over at him. I'm like, dude, we don't have money to buy chemicals. Like, yeah, let's just go get jobs. So literally that was like right before I joined the Marine Corps. I went and I worked for HEB for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. It's the best job, by the way. If I'd never gotten into real estate, I'd probably be working at HEB to this day. Like, best company. They take good care of their folks. Totally. So yeah, that's what I did those 2 years when I was trying to go to school, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And just decided, my dad told me, he's like, hey, dude, if you're not in college, you're in the military or you're out of my house. And I was like, cool. So went and saw a recruiter, and that was that.
Well, cool, man. I worked at HEB as well, a great company, and I'm born and raised. I was born in '84, went to MacArthur, not that far from you. So it's kind of crazy how all of a sudden we're bringing our lives together here. So talk to me about the Marines. What kind of shock to the system? Do you come from a military background, your family or all that?
I don't actually. Well, I take that back. So I got my dad's oldest brother was in the Air Force, served in Vietnam, but we weren't really close because they had a whole bunch of kids, so there was like a big age gap. So I can't really say that was a big impact on a reason for me to join. So I wouldn't say a military family like you would traditionally think of it, but yeah, man, super. It was crazy. Like A good buddy of mine's brother was in the Marine Corps and actually had an Army recruiter calling on me. And it's kind of one of those things, right? Like, we call on these prospects and, like Tony's calling on them, Josue's calling them. And the prospect finally says, hey, dude, you know what? I'll interview you. Like, let's see what's up. And that's what I told the Army guy. And sure enough, went and sat down with him and wasn't jiving. Like, I wasn't feeling it. I don't know, call it a gut feeling, a God thing, however you want to describe it. Right? I just was not feeling what this dude was saying. So I said, you know what? A good friend of mine's brother's in the Marine Corps. He told me that the recruiting station's at Ingram. I was like, I gotta go talk to them. And of course, this guy was trying to, do the objection handlers. Oh, they're going to tell you this. Oh, you got to ask them that, right? All this stuff. And man, lo and behold, walked in there and it felt like home. I got all the good vibes that I needed. And next thing you know, I joined up. And so going to boot camp was crazy, man. It definitely was a stressor. I've never done anything harder in my life. It was tough, man. But I wouldn't trade any of that for the world. Going in, I was 20 years old. And, got out boot camp June 17, 2005. Man, I'm actually coming up on 20 years of actually graduating boot camp. From there, went to my job training school in California, and I spent all of my time in California when I wasn't deployed. So, in the desert, mind you. So, high desert.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your service, man. That's awesome. So what are some of the values that you gained and learned in that 4 years that, you still carry to this day?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that sticks out the most to me is, do the right thing no matter what, right? So like honor, courage, and commitment is huge in the Marine Corps. Integrity is big, right? And I never forget my drill instructor telling me like, if you're at a stop sign and nobody's there, are you going to stop, right? You do the right thing because it's right. And I feel like for me on a sales side of things, man, I could go be a sleazy salesman. Any one of us can. We can sit there and just spit all the game if you want in the world. But like, is that really doing the right thing, right? Is that helping the consumer? Are we being, fiduciaries? Are we actually leading from a heart of service? Or are we just trying to put a paycheck in the bank? And so I think that's one of the biggest things across the board in life is just do the right thing, right? Like just make sure that you're being honorable in how you conduct yourself, right? It's tough. I fall short of that all the time. But I feel like that as a whole has definitely stuck out, as well as like the leadership traits as well that I picked up. I had the honor of actually leading Marines. And so I think that was a really cool thing that I was able to learn. And so in different instances within different brokerages that I've been a part of, I've been able to tap that and, utilize that, to help people grow. So that's been cool.
Yeah, absolutely. That's badass, man. Again, thanks for your service.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk to us a little bit about that first year. So we have listeners of all range, people that have been doing it a while, like yourself, even longer. And then we have people that are like brand new. I'm in my 4th year.
Yeah.
So I'm still figuring things out. I believe I'm a lifelong learner, and I believe we should be. But take us back to that very first year. Why did you get into real estate? Who did you go with? Yeah. And talk about that first year of what you learned.
Yeah, absolutely. So why did I get into real estate? I really wanted to maximize. So coming out of the military, right? Like I jumped back into kind of like not corporate America, but just different jobs and realized that you can't really talk or yell at people when they don't do their job the same way, right? So that was a bit of a shock for me, needless to say. But I was like, how do I go about like, what is going to work for me? I don't want to be getting paid the same as like, for instance, John over here, who's doing less than average, right? Like, so kind of like that scale, right? Or your income being a measurement of your productivity. I was like, so what does that look like? And of course, like I knew people that were in the insurance world, other commission-based industries, but actually working for the Washed Up again, being a salesman, I came into contact with a lot of realtors out at Leon Springs. And so like I started seeing their decals, started asking them questions, and dude, everybody was like, actually pretty negative about it. No, you don't want to do this. You're never going to make it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, yeah. Okay. So I kind of feel like that lit a fire, and I was like, let me go look into this stuff. So I started doing my research. This was in 2012. And man, when I figured it out, I applied to Trek. And in a matter of months, this is like, I call it the Stone Age years, because it's not like you can do the classes now, where like literally their online class was a portal. Like that was terrible. It wasn't like you had to teach yourself. Yeah. There was no videos to watch, et cetera, but I got all my stuff done in a month, and I tested that following month and passed. And I just never looked back. So yeah, I almost feel like I got into real estate because of a challenge, like a chip on my shoulder. Somebody saying like, or not somebody, but multiple people saying like, oh dude, this isn't the industry for you. Like go do something more secure, or, oh, it's so hard to do. And I'm like, dude, you don't even know me, but like, okay, cool. So Yeah, that's kind of how I found my way into real estate. And once I got licensed, I had interviewed with three brokers, and had JB Goodwin is who I signed up with. But dude, they weren't even on my radar. And I was sitting there again at the car wash, and an old friend of mine from high school came through, and she washed her car. We got to chatting, and I was like, "Oh, what are you up to now?" She's like, "Oh, I actually sell real estate part time." I was like, "What? That's cool. I just got my license." She's like, "Oh, you got to go talk to my broker." I was like, "I think I'm good. Like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna sign up with so and so. I've already met with some people." No, you got to go talk to Reagan Greer over at JB Goodwin. And I was like, "Okay, whatever." I was like, and I knew her, so I trusted her. I was like, "Cool, shoot me their number. I'll give them a shout." So I called them up and was like, "Hey, so and so told me to give you guys a call. I'm brand new to the industry, just got licensed. When can I schedule a time to meet?" And so I did. And sure enough, like Reagan and I probably talked for, I don't know, 3 hours that time. And from there it was just never looking back. And I told the other guy that I committed to verbally, "Hey, by the way, I'm not coming over. I'm going to join a different brokerage." And so that's what I did. So
Yeah.
felt a little bad, man. Felt a little bad because I'd given my word,
Sure.
and ended up having to pull that back. So
Well, man, Reagan Greer, and we've connected and bonded over that.
yeah,
What an amazing human being, right? And do you
yeah,
mind talking a
yeah,
little bit about what Reagan meant to you? I'll give my quick story. Obviously, I
yeah,
taught band for 11 years, and I taught his son, and he was very involved. He's a Churchill grad, and did all that, and he's just an amazing personality, always has a smile on his face, no matter the situation, and had a massive impact on me. So I kind of knew I was going with EXP because all my friends were going with EXP. But I was like, again,
yeah,
out of respect, I need to go talk to Reagan. And I did have a meeting with him at JB Goodwin. And obviously he has they have a lot of great things to offer. But I kind of had my
yeah.
mind set up. But I knew that I had so much respect for him that I was like, I'm going to at least have a conversation with him and see what he recommends. So yeah, talk to us a little bit
Yeah.
about Reagan, because I know that was a huge thing that you stayed at JB Goodwin for a while because of Reagan. What did he
Yeah.
mean to you?
Yes. 7 years, man. 7 years. He, I don't even know how to properly describe the impact that he had on me. I think that, I guess one of the easiest way to say it is, I don't think I'd be where I am today in life and or in business without having him in my life. And what I mean by that is, like you said, Reagan was this kind of guy. Even to this day, I still meet people that, when they ask me, "What's your story?" Whether it's another agent, a brand new agent at my current brokerage, right? Or whatever, like, and they're older, like, they have all either heard of Reagan or know somebody that knows Reagan. And like, you talk about a legacy, man, that is incredible, right? For a city that's as big as, San Antonio, or at least is where it's now, with as many agents, like anywhere you go, you're probably going to know, or you're going to talk to somebody that had, encountered him. Maybe not so much on a real estate level, but I know a lot of people that, they were Churchill parents.
Yeah.
And so like they knew him on that level, from all three of his kids. And for me, it was just the ability to go to him and basically be raw with him, and be vulnerable with him. Like, you could open up to him. And I think what I valued from us is, I told him, I was like, "Look, I called it we would have my Reagan session, right?" And so like every week I'd meet with him, and like he would make me grade myself on what I was doing. Like, so when we first started doing this, like I was kind of like, I kind of plateaued at my third year, and I said, "Reagan, like, you always talk about business planning, like, and I know I'm reluctant, I'm hard headed, I get it. Let me sit down with you." So I did. And I was like, "What do I got to do to stay on track?" And he was like, "Well, what do you feel like you need?" And I said, "Honestly, I need somebody to kind of hold my feet to the fire. So if I say I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, like, I need somebody to do that." I said, "But I need somebody that I respect to do that. So I can't ask a fellow agent that I feel like is on my playing field, et cetera." Right.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Cool, I'll do it." And I said, "Great." So we would meet weekly, and we'd go over like what I was supposed to do, and I'd grade myself. And I'll never forget, like, those little, like, they were about 30, 45 minute sessions. But the things that I would take away literally is not what I thought I would. Like, I'd go in there expecting to, ask him questions about, maybe how to generate more business from my sphere of influence, or like what kind of questions that I should be asking, or what's good practices. How many pop buys do I need to be doing? Like a number of these things. And I would come out with like this bigger aha moment that I was just like, "Whoa, dude, like, I didn't even know." Right. And so you would feel like you just had a better grasp on things. And it's really hard to describe. I don't know if I'm making sense, but it's just really like, if you're around an individual like that, that makes you kind of like take that deeper step, or that bigger step in kind of the direction of, yes, it solves your current question or problem, but you're also like opening your eyes to what else you should be looking at, or kind of what you thought you could glance over, but it's really the bigger picture here. That was Reagan for me. And one of the things that I'll never forget is when I found out I was going to be a dad, and not only a dad, but a girl dad. His words, they literally, I wanted a boy so bad, by the way. Like, I wanted a boy so bad. And so I was a little shocked and heartbroken. I don't have sisters, and my wife finds it funny, but anyways, I was pretty shocked, and I came to him, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm having a girl. And he's like, yeah, that's the best thing that you can have. And I was like, I don't understand. I was like, I don't have sisters. I don't get girls. Like, I don't know. I said, I want a boy. And he's like, yeah. He's like, boys are great. He's like, but man, he's like, you'll never forget the day when you're walking in a parking lot, or you're going somewhere, and that little girl just comes up and grabs your pinky, or grabs your index finger, and it'll just absolutely change your world. And sure, she did growing up, but I wish she was around today, because she's 5 years old now. And like yesterday, I was sitting in my office at home. She literally ran around the corner for no reason, no provocation, like just literally just came up, gave me a kiss on the cheek, and I was like, I love you, Dad, and ran off. And I kid you not, I literally thought about Reagan in that moment. I was like, dude, you were right. You were 100% right. So stuff like that, I don't think I would have ever gotten from anybody else. He was so insightful, and just seeing the way that he raised his children. I wanted to be an amazing father. I want to be an amazing father, continue to be an amazing father. And seeing the way that he did it was just such a great example, because of the stresses that we have in real estate, man. It's no other. Like, my dad was phenomenal, but he had a regular 9 to 5, man. Like, dude, we got stresses in real estate. Yeah. If you're not making sales, bro, you're broke. And so, like, seeing the way that he handled that versus your salary dad, no knock to salary dads. I love y'all. Y'all are great, but I'm sorry. Y'all don't know our struggles, man. Like, it is tough. And so I got to see that firsthand when he was raising children, how he said, dude, I'm good. I'm going to go spend time here at Austin's basketball game, or at Ryan's band deal, or at Elizabeth softball. Like, that was, to me, that was so impactful, because he was not only the boss, but he was a seasoned agent doing this. And I was like, that's the right way to go about things. So yeah, I could go on and on about Reagan. Dude was phenomenal. Miss him dearly. He's just such a great guy. And his kids are phenomenal too, man. They're just great human beings overall, just phenomenal mark on this world. So yeah, kudos to him.
Yeah, you said it perfectly, man. Everything that you just said, wraps it up perfectly. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Very, very cool. You mentioned in there getting back into the sales business. You hit a plateau in your third year, and you were kind of doing well, right? You came out doing okay.
Yeah.
What was the thing that kind of got you over that first plateau?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think the biggest thing was, everybody preaches database when you first get in the industry, right? And I don't know if anybody's like me, but I'm stubborn. And so I was like, nah, or I'll do like, here's my 30 people, right? And so really just kind of going back and talking to him, and he almost did like a diagnosis of my business, if you will, and just kind of said, this is where you're lacking. And so really the thing to kind of get me through that one was dialing into my database and getting a clear goal. Like, I needed to add at least a person a week to my database so that I could start to help it grow and become healthy, right? And so I started to do that. So I started having more like impactful conversations. If you and I met, I'd be like, Tony, hey man, gosh, it was really great to meet you. I'm sure you know a ton of realtors in your life. I was like, but hey man, I'd love to stay in contact with you. I provide a lot of great value. Any chance that I could grab your email address and your address, because I want to just send you some helpful content. Like, dude, there's no obligation, bro. I know you know a ton of people, but it was in that manner. And Reagan was just all about helping people. So that's one of the things that I was able to utilize. And so I went, I kid you not, from like 30, I think at that 30 year, I had like 30 to 40. I was able to jump into like 180 within like a year or two. Yep. And that was just from being more intentional and like asking those questions and saying, hey, I would love to be a resource for you guys. Let me send you my stuff monthly. Right. Yeah. And again, it doesn't cost anything. And it was one of those things that people were like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And so that's one of the things that I felt like really helped me get to the next level, is just being on a constant mailer. People saw my face. They saw my information. They started to call me, or they had questions. Unsolicited CMAs. That's another Reaganism, if you will. that he loved, just like, hey, Tony hasn't heard from you in 3 months. Send him a CMA on his house with the little, and it wasn't anything fancy, bro. You print it out on the MLS. You
Yep.
just say, hey, Tony, hope you're doing well. Just wanted to give you a quick snapshot of your area. Hey, let me know if you have any questions. Let's connect soon. So it almost was a handwritten note,
Yeah.
right? But you just put an envelope, boom. I started doing just regular database mails, those mailers, and handwritten notes. And I sprinkled, and I say sprinkle, I sprinkled some phone calls, right? Because everybody's scared to get on the phone and be told no, right? But I
Yeah.
started sprinkling some phone calls, and that really took me. I think I was probably around like a high threes to fours, to really like mid five to sixes,
Yeah.
right? In the matter of like a year and a half or two.
Yeah.
And there was no like, but I wasn't doing it to the level that I am today as far as like tracking and tightness, but I knew what I needed to do in order to continue to have that kind of success.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it was handwritten notes, unsolicited CMAs, and just growing a database, making sure you had a blueprint to work off of. Right. Like that was the biggest thing.
I love that because I talked to two agents this morning, newer, and I was like, our goal, and this is going to be another podcast, but our goal is not necessarily to be better than Josue Gallardo at selling real estate.
Yeah.
It's to
Yeah.
add people to your database. If you can add one or two people a week, you're going to add 100 people in a year, you know, and guess what? That one person probably knows about another 100 people. You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
Oh, 100%.
so you add people
Yeah.
to your database and it just naturally grows, and then you serve them, you know, and it's, so
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's really cool. Do you mind sharing some of the things that like now you're at another level, right?
Yeah,
you get to
100%.
that 10 million. So, you're probably doing similar things, but, well, what are you doing now that kind of took you to that next level?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I kind of hit a second plateau. So I wanted to say that I was right. Like, so I went from that plateau, like, you know, high threes to like barely breaking four. And then I was able to go like, I think it was 5.5 to like right around scratching the surface of six. Then it was like 6.5 to 7. Then I had a monster year. I did this. I don't know if you heard of Get Shit Done by Joshua Smith. He's also got a podcast. He's a solid dude. He's really big. This is pre-COVID. I did that for 2019, and it was kind of like a coaching, not really. It was like more of a. He would have Q&A on Mondays, and you would watch some like kind of like training videos, and he would show you how to do like an open house, how to do this, how to do that, right? And really some scripting, and that went from my 6 to 7 to like I actually did 9 million that year. It blew my mind. It was almost like 2.5 to 3 million, but I was working hard, bro, and I was talking to everybody. That was the difference, and I feel like it was just kind of like giving me some motivation and just good positive like reinforcements. I'm not knocking the training, but it wasn't necessarily that. More so, it was just being in like kind of having a rhythm to things, if that kind of makes sense, right? And so then last year, again, I felt the same kind of like it's like almost every 2-3 years, I couldn't get it higher. I was like frustrated. I was pissed. What do I got to do? And so that's when I bit the bullet, and I knew a lot of agents and lenders that had been uber successful by using the core training. And so for anybody that's like in real estate right now, if you have not or you do not know about them, like they're like literally the Navy SEALs of real estate coaching, right? Like they're the best of the best. No knock to anybody else, but just their reputation is super hardcore, super intense. Like I talked to an agent in my office that does like some of these, like, you know, Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry's. He's like, yeah, I was looking into that, but bro, dude, they're too intense. I don't want to do that, right? And I mean, like everybody's got their own level of, you know, kind of like comfort, you know, that they're, you know, are they okay kind of getting in trouble, you know, that sort of thing, right? Or how high of accountability do they want? But these guys are super intense, and I felt like that was just a challenge to me. I was scared. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was scared. I was like, dude, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be yelled at. Like, but then that kind of like that boot camp mentality came back. I was like, dude, come on, man. Like you did all this stuff. Like just go and do it. Like see what's about, right? You sign a year commitment. If it sucks, suck it up for a year. I'm sure you still make more money, and then just don't renew. Yeah. Well, so I'm not even at a year yet, but I will tell you, it's absolutely changed my real estate career, like 100%. And just some quick stats on that before I kind of dive into exactly what I'm doing. But I went from paying for some lead generation, right? Like we've all done in the past. I was unfortunately a Zillow guy for a hot second. But once I stopped feeding the beast, I was a little scared. And that was all of 2022. I didn't pay for any online leads, but I was 87% referral based. And that's huge, man, because before that, I was probably like high 30s, maybe mid 40s. Yeah. This is 87% of my business came from referrals. Now, the other remaining percentage was not from the online leads, but it was from like what we call advertisement, which would have been a sign call, So converting a listing from, somebody like Tony calling on a sign. So I still didn't pay for leads, and I was able to crush it. Right. And that to me was
Mm-hmm.
huge. It's going to suck for my taxes because I don't have as much write-offs as I did the previous year. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, like we're pumped about,
Yeah.
moving away from having all that, like, I guess, dependence on, online lead sources. And dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. What's better than a warm lead when somebody like introduces you, three-way texts you,
Yep.
and talks you up, and then you're just like, man, I basically showed up to the appointment
Yep.
and crushed it. Which I don't recommend. Still go prepared, but still, it's better than having to compete against like 5 other people. So
Yeah.
definitely awesome in that regard to see the business grow in that manner.
Dude. Yeah. I mean, this podcast could go on forever, and you have
Oh yeah, for
so
sure.
much stuff to talk about. I really appreciate you sharing all of this. Yeah, so yeah. Do you want to talk about a little bit about the core and
Yeah.
what would you say like is the one or two things that you've taken away from it that have really made an impact?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, so it's like we love the numbers, and that's the biggest thing. Is like when people start looking at their real estate business, I always kind of wonder like how can somebody truly evaluate their business or where they're at, right? Like if they don't know their numbers. So like if I ask you, Tony, like, hey, how many units did you sell last year? What was your sales volume? Would you know? Like, would you be able to tell me? Like,
Yeah, usually not.
you might.
I only look at it at the end of the year. Like I look at my, at my 1099 and then I look back on
Uh-huh.
transactions and go, okay, that's what it was. But I don't necessarily track it like month to month,
Yeah.
etc. But yeah.
And there's a lot. You're the norm. Like a lot of people don't do this, right?
Right.
So I could tell you, like, okay, cool. Like, I know that I did $10.9 million in real estate last year, right? For 32 units, my average sales price was at 347,500. So like, I know that for last year, right? I know that this year my goal is to hit $16 million, which if I just bump it down to 330 as an average sales price, that equals 47 units, right? So like, I know where I need to be monthly, right, in order for that to translate into my or like for me to hit my overall goal. So like knowing the numbers has been impactful for me, but that's also knowing your database. So what we love in the core is like 400 people. You got to have a database of no less than 400 people, no more than 400 people, because guess what? You're not going to be able to stay in constant communication or even intimate communication. And what we mean by that is like a meaningful relationship. Sure, can I have 1,000 people I mail to? Yes. Does that mean I'm going to actually be able to effectively call and like check on, be of value to 1,000 people? No. 400, if you did 400 times 15%, which 15% is either A, going to buy with you that year, B, sell with you, or C, refer you somebody, right? Like either do a transaction or refer you transaction. 15% uber conservative. That's like what, 60 or 40, something like that,
Yeah.
transactions that you're going to do that year. Like that's insane just from your database of 400. So like for me, knowing the numbers, that was like time number 2. So Reagan did it first. Now they hit on it this time, and I'm ramping up my database to hit 400 because I'm not there yet. But that was really the big thing. And then how you work that database. So your database isn't necessarily just past clients. It's like business partners. That was another thing that I had no idea. Dude, I was missing out on so much business because I'd send it all to this plumber and I never asked the dude for a referral. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, wait, what? So time out. You're supposed to tell me that I can ask Tony the plumber for a referral because I sent him 5 of my clients last year. And they're like, hell yeah, you should demand a referral from Tony. And guess what? If Tony doesn't want to play ball, then cool, you'll go find another plumber. And that's blown my mind. So now having these business to business relationships where I'm meeting with people and being clear cut, being like, hey, look, dude, like I'm interested in you. I love the giver's gain mentality. I want you to succeed just like I would hope you want me to succeed. But this is business, right? So I need to have a guy that I'm trusted in this space. I would imagine you need a realtor that you trust in this space too. And they're normally like, yeah. And then from there, we just say, hey, look, dude, I'd love to send you a lot of business. And I go about the ways that I contact my sphere of influence, how many transactions I'm doing a month, so how much opportunity I have to refer them out. And then I normally get a commitment from them, like no joke, like, hey, this is how many I think I can send you referral wise a quarter. I'm asking for the same thing in return. Do you think that's out of the realm of possibilities, or can you do it? And they're like, yeah, I think it can. And then they always hit me with it, and this is kind of what you went back to. But my customers don't normally, if they're moving, like they already have an agent or whatever when they hire me. I was like, dude, I don't care about your customers. I was like, I do, but I don't. I said, and this is a John C. Maxwell. If you don't know him, you should go read one of his leadership books. Dude's phenomenal. But this is his thing. Everybody knows 120 people. It goes back to what you just said.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, Tony the plumber, like I get that you might miss Mary the homeowner because she's already got a for sale sign, but she's got some plumbing issues that you're fixing. I was like, dude, I don't want Mary the homeowner. I want Janie, your cousin, right?
Yeah.
That talks to you at a family event about selling. Then you're like, dude, I got your boy Josue. Like, he's phenomenal. You know, three-way text this, warm introduction, and I'd love to have the opportunity to meet with her, right? Or maybe you have another colleague at, you know, ABC Plumbing that talks about moving. I said, everybody knows about 120 people. Those are the people that I care about. Those are people I want you to have on high alert. If your son's in baseball, guess what you're doing on Saturdays? You're at the ballpark. You're talking with other families, right? If your daughter's in volleyball, same thing. Cheerleading, dance, gymnastics. Everybody's going to go to somewhere where they meet people that could potentially need or have a need for real estate services.
Yep.
That's when I want them to think about me. And so once I break it down for them, they're like, dude, oh yeah, easy, bro. I'll probably send you more than that. And that's when the light bulb goes off. But if you don't train them, that's the other thing the core taught me, train them how to prospect for you. Train them to be your billboards. How do they become a raving fan, which is a great book to read. But you have to know the way to actually train these individuals or coach them, I should say. Training's negative in some context, but I would say coach them.
Yeah.
Coach them up so they know exactly how to go and prospect for Tony so that he can get these referrals. And then not only that, but then teach him how to send you a referral. That's the second biggest thing in that sequence. And I'm a three-way text guy. So everybody, here's a free core coaching. Get your VIP list together, which is basically vendors. Get anybody and everybody that you could send out in a real estate transaction, get them on a list, start calling on them and saying, hey, look, I want to do business with you. I want to continue to do business with you. Who do you know that might need to buy or sell? Oh, Josue, I don't know anybody right now. Fantastic. Hey, if you come across anybody that is looking to buy or sell, will you please do me the favor or do me the honor of three-way texting us, introduce us, let them know that I'm happy to help answer any questions they may have. It's a crazy market. It's what everybody's saying. I'd love to shed some light as to why it's not a crazy market. Mm-hmm. Please give me the opportunity. And then if they say, great, I'll keep that in mind and say, cool. Hey, Tony, by the way, I really want to commit. Call it a gentleman's agreement. Are you willing to send me X amount of referral, or I'm willing to send you X amount of referrals every quarter this year? Are you willing to send those right back to me? You know, it's okay if you can't, but I just want to make sure that I'm working with people that are just as interested in me helping them grow their business as I am, as they're helping me grow my business. Yeah. And that's what we're big on, man, belly to belly sales. And that's been the kicker for me to be able to take it to that next level. And I still don't have it dialed in, sure. Right? Like I still come up short, and everybody else, I call a lot of 7-year students in the core, and Tony knows what a greatness tracker is. And they're still like, dude, I still suck at my greatness tracker. Like I've gotten this down, but I haven't got that. And I'm like, okay, thank God. I'm not the only one.
Yeah, that makes me feel better.
Tony knows the pain.
It's not easy. I mean, it's good. It's a good tool. Tracker. It's a good tool, but it's not easy to fill that shit out. but it's a good goal.
Dude, it's the hardest thing. And here's the thing about the core that I love. As soon as you start feeling it, like, dude, yes, this is going to be awesome. I'm hopping on this Zoom. I got 13 great conversations. Like, where's your thank you cards? Huh? oh, shit.
Yeah.
I didn't send out 10 cards last week.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hey, where's your video? Oh, God, I didn't do video. Oh, you know what? You had all those great conversations. You got these referrals. You sent out your thank you cards. Hey, where was your event? Or where was your break breads? You're supposed to have 5. Where was your 10 face-to-faces? It's like you're never going to win, right? Like there's a few people in this world, I think, that can honestly say they fill that out 100%. You and I both know one of them, but there's not many on God's green earth that can do that as efficiently. It's a special human, but I think it's what they said. Hey, you could suck at sales, but if you just filled out this greatness tracker, dude, you're gonna make $1 million. And it's the God honest truth, because you're gonna talk to enough people, you're gonna meet enough people that you'll stumble into a deal. Like there's just no way you'll stumble into a real estate transaction. So anyways, yeah, Tony knows the pain of the greatness tracker, but the greatness tracker has been amazing. And really just being able to beef up the database and be meaningful with the conversations, and don't just give leads out, man. Like don't be that guy that's an awesome realtor that sends out leads to, their vendors. Like ask nicely, politely, say, hey, I want to be a referral partner with you too. Yeah. Right. Because if you're sending them leads, like why can you not ask that? Or why should you feel like you're not able to ask that?
Sure.
Like, I think that's that mindset that we all get into is like, I'm not good enough to ask for. I'm like, bro, you've sent them 5 leads.
Right.
I want to know who else, what other single entity has sent them 5 leads, and not Google doesn't count.
Yeah.
That doesn't count. Like I'm telling you, become that rock star for them, and bro, they will sing your praises. I can agree. I can tell you that for sure.
Well, dude, like I'm over here writing notes left and right. This is awesome stuff. I'm sure the listeners will get stuff out of this. Hopefully they take notes as well. But man, this is great. Honestly, as I'm listening to you talk, we need to just like have another podcast with you in a month or so that just like Josue's scripts, you know, and I mean, because like, I know, I know you don't necessarily probably have written out scripts, but you're just so good at just going, oh yeah, I'm going to talk to this guy about this and this and this and this. And it's like, oh shit. Like you just roll with it.
Well, I'm not going to lie, Tony. I do have the scripts. They're just memorized now.
Okay.
So that's one thing where like, it sounds off the cuff, which that's a huge compliment, because sometimes when I'm having these meetings with people, like I don't feel like it naturally flows just yet. But I think that it's probably me just being really critical and hard on myself. But yeah, no, I do have the scripts of like how to actually call on these people to get them to like meet you for a coffee. And then from there, like, what do you actually say? Like, how is that meeting ran? Because guess what? I'm in and out in 15 minutes with either like a handshake and an agreement that, hey, we're going to send each other business, or like, okay, cool, man, I appreciate you coming to meet me, but it sounds like you don't want to send business my way, which is cool. Like, I'll go find another CPA or a financial advisor or whomever I'm trying to fill that space for, right? So yeah, I'd be happy to, you know, kind of go over that, because dude, at the end of the day, I want everybody, there's so much real estate that you're not going to, what do we call it? There's some, I can't remember who said it. You were in this class with me.
Mindset of abundance.
What is the scarcity?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's the scarcity mindset. We have to lead from abundance, bro. Like, I don't care if I give you everything, Tony, and I want you to be successful. Yep. There's so many people in San Antonio that we could still crush it, earn $1 million each every year, because there's only right now 12,000 licensed agents in the city. Yep. Dude, there's plenty of land. There's plenty of deals to be done. So I'm trying to lead from abundance mindset, instead of like, oh, I ain't going to tell Tony any of this. Like, here, I'm going to take away my notes. No, I want people to have what I have, because I think if they can be blessed like I've been blessed, and, you know, fired up, and dude, helping people is awesome. And guess what? Too many realtors give us bad raps to begin with. So if we can impact the new agents or the agents looking for a reset and make them a better quality agent, I'm all for it. Makes our job easier in the long run, right?
Well, dude, that's badass. I appreciate you, and there's so much stuff that we're gonna have to have you on again. But let's do it. Let's wrap this one up. Talk to us a little bit about I have a few fun questions. I know you're a big golfer. What is your favorite golf course in the San Antonio area that you like to play consistently?
Well, so my favorite golf course in the San Antonio area is probably going to have to be Fair Oaks, man. Okay. God, I love Fair Oaks. They have two courses there. I know you played it. I had a good buddy of mine that was a member there for a long time. We got to play it. We were blessed. Yeah, that's got to be just always in great shape. I've had other courses that are like in some top parts of the year, they're like phenomenal. Yeah. But this one, I don't care when it was, man, they were amazing. So nice. Fair Oaks Country Club is definitely the best, man, for sure.
When was the last time you played?
January, end of January. Yeah, he actually gave up his membership because he moved down south.
Yeah.
So yeah. So we're not gonna play there for him. But my neighbor's gonna get a membership. He just told me. So I said, hey, I'm your best friend starting this summer. So hopefully we get back in it in 6 months, man.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Well, what is your handicap, if you don't mind sharing? I'm a bogey golfer, so if I go out there shoot 90, it's average.
Dude, I don't know. I actually I got the US Gen app. A good buddy of mine told me to download it and do the whole thing and start tracking it, man. I don't think I have enough rounds in there just yet. And we've been doing some fun games when I go out, and I use it as golf is now a networking tool as well, right? Yeah. So that's been pretty cool. But I play games because the last thing that I want is somebody to like get out there. I'm not a great golfer by any regard, but I can understand if I go play with people that I don't know, you might be like, oh, I don't want to go play. I don't want to act a fool. Like, cool, dude, we're going to play games. So I always get, a good buddy of mine who, we play a lot at a particular course here in town because he works there. I won't mention it. I won't get him in trouble. But he comes out and it just allows for us to invite different people to play these games, like 2-man scrambles, alternate shots. So people are kind of playing field is level. But I would say that if I had to guess, I don't know, maybe like a 15 or so.
Yeah.
I could shoot low 80s. Yeah. I have shot in the 70s. Nice. At city courses, but most recently I'd say like 82 is right around
All right.
my good day. But oh, dude, I shot a 96 the last time I scored like 2 weeks ago. So,
Dude,
I'm right there with you, bro.
Dude, I didn't even finish my last round. It was that bad. I was like, okay, I'm done. But no,
Dude,
I can't wait for my invite. So let me know when you're headed out
dude,
there.
we got to get out there. We got to plan. We've been saying that for over a year, bro.
I know.
Yeah, over a year. We got to do that. We'll make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. One of these Fridays coming up, man. Yeah. Especially, I looked at the weather too. Every day the next 2 weeks is like in the 80s. So like we're gonna be having some fun, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. What is your favorite restaurant?
Papados. All day, baby. I love that food.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. How about Papacitos? Is
seafood fondue.
Is Papacitos up there?
Yeah, Papacitos.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I love Papacitos. I love Papados. And for those of you that don't know, the Papa family, right? The Papados family that owns that, they actually have a Papa's Barbecue out of Houston because that's where they're originally from. Yeah. Dude, that's phenomenal. If you're ever in the Houston area, check out Papa's Barbecue. Some of the best potato salad I've ever had, man.
Nice.
So good stuff out that way. Yeah. But Papacitos, bro, you can't beat their margaritas. You can't beat their fajitas, dude. They're amazing.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, hey, so how could listeners get a hold of you if they had any questions or wanted to get in contact with you? Do you have social media, email, phone number, anything you feel comfortable sharing?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, dude. If you guys got questions, if you want to know more about the core, if like you feel like that's something you might be interested to help take you to the next level, or even any a training program that's out there. I've looked into a ton of them before I settled on what I'm doing here. So I have a good idea of like, who's going to be solid and you can give your money to. So yeah, my number is 210-559-0765. And Tony, feel free to put that in the description and stuff I don't care. I'm a real estate agent, right? Everybody needs to get a hold of me.
Exactly.
That, and then if you want to hit me up on social media, I think on Instagram, I'm at the Veteran Realtor. See, I'm not even that good. Don't even do that. Just call me, text me. That's the best way. Yeah. See, I don't do the social media as much, right? Like, hit me up on my cell. I will answer, or I will call you back. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool, man. Hey, again, I want to thank you for joining us. Guys, that's the show. I hope you enjoyed it. There's so much knowledge being given by Josue, and I want to thank him for that. If you enjoyed the show, share the show with a friend. Another realtor or somebody that's getting into the business. A lot of great information that they can get out of the show, so share it. Drop us a review, give us a rating. It really helps grow the show. If you're in real estate or think about getting in real estate, I highly encourage you to go visit our private Facebook group called The Productive Agent. Just send us a friend request and we'll accept you and get you in there. By the way, I want to give a quick shout out. Josue, Friday is our happy hour for February. So 4 to 7 at Cover 3. So if you're able to make it out, that'd be awesome. You could also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So we thank you for joining us today. Now let's get out there and go produce.